Call this meeting of the Chadron City Council to order as of 6:01 p.m. and invite everybody to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As required by Section 84-1412, subsection 8 of the Nebraska statutes, notice is hereby given that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted for your examination on the wall inside the door to the City Council chambers. May we have a roll call, please?
Miles Ben.
Present.
Keith Crowfoot.
Here.
Mark Werner. Cheryl Welch.
Here.
George Klein.
Here.
All right.
Approve the agenda as written.
Second that.
Second that.
Good. Okay. May we have roll call on the agenda, please?
Warner. Warner. Oh. There you go. Okay, Warner.
Yeah.
Welch.
Yeah.
Klein.
Yes.
Bannon.
Yes.
Crowfoot.
Yes, ma'am. Move to approve the consent agenda. I'll second that.
On the consent agenda tonight, we have minutes for our previous city council meeting, We also have some correspondence from citizens regarding 5G technology. Minutes for the problem resolution team meeting held January 22nd. Monthly treasurer's report and water reports, city sales tax analysis, aquatic center analysis. Got a whole trove in there. Any comments on the consent agenda?
Yes, I have some comments. I read through the letters, and I appreciate that the four individuals who wrote us letters. And I did some investigation, and I have to say that personally, I do not see any strength of evidence. So I do not agree with the perspective that they shared. I appreciate them sharing, but I think if I go to science, and I did not find the evidence to be concerned.
Any further comments? May we have roll call on the consent agenda, please?
Warner. Welch.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Bannon.
Yes.
Crowfoot.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and moving forward in our meeting, we have Deb Cottier presenting via telepresence tonight her report and update. Deb?
Good evening. I hope you can all hear me.
We can hear you down at City Hall at least.
A message or a report to you earlier. Really what I have to share with the council tonight is that most of the time in the last 2 weeks, since the last council meeting that I was in, we have spent most of our time reacting to and trying to assist businesses in our community. We have many businesses who are in a very fragile status right now. A great deal of our hospitality
I just wanted to ask you to highlight something from your report, Deb. Hard scrabble for good news, but the Downtown Plaza grant was awarded, and you just want to give us the quick details on what that entails?
Yes, we were really pleased to get a positive response from the Dawes County Travel Board. We will be receiving $9,844. Those dollars will be used to do three major things. First of all, we will pay for the installation of the central heating and water apparatus that's been in our possession for several months. We will have money to purchase a shed. It'll be 8 foot by 12 foot, and that will actually be installed on the plaza to provide a safe, lockable storage facility for all of the equipment that they use to water with, or things that the chamber might want to leave down there, for everything from Christmas to the farmer's market, those kinds of things. So we'll have a lockable storage facility. And then the third thing is we have ordered, I hope the city's managed to get it ordered by now, but we now will have the dollars to order what we refer to as a kiosk, a message kiosk. It'll be a freestanding place where we can post information for folks that are down there. There will be a place where we can actually have brochures available to encourage people to utilize the downtown walking tour, as well as a little bit of information about what's available to the visitors downtown. In addition to that, the city will also, this early spring, or early summer, late spring, be able to install the shade sails that were purchased in another grant situation in the Midtown HVAC. Those will hopefully also be installed in May. So by 1st of June, hopefully, we will have the fountain up, the message center up, the shade sails installed, and a lockable facility there on the site. There will also be an opportunity to put some of the chairs, or the tables and deck chairs and additional benches that are in the city's storage facility right now, that we will place on the grounds where it would fit, where they would be appropriate, and have really much more usable space this summer, assuming we get together this summer, than we've had in the past. So we're excited about seeing some work and some effort and some movement happening down there.
Very cool. Thank you, Deb. Yeah, I think that's exciting, and who knows what will happen this summer, if we'll be able to gather, but I'm really excited for the progress. That's going to be a big upgrade.
Deb, I had a question. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about the information you said regarding customers buying gift cards and LBA 40 funds that might match that amount of money in grant to help provide additional cash flow. Give us some more information about that, please.
Sure. I think the next item on your agenda is going to really be more geared towards that LBA 40 funding. But the board of directors for NNDC has given me sort of the go-ahead to do other ways that we could implement what we refer to as the matching gift card program. In many communities across the state, they are providing an incentive for the general public, the customers of these businesses that are having some tough times in terms of cash flow or business, to be able to purchase a gift card or a gift certificate from their favorite restaurant or whichever business they choose. And then the program would match that dollar for dollar in a grant to that business. So the example I've been using is, so somebody walks into DJ's, buys a $25 gift card. Jesse could bring that gift card to my office, and we would write her a check for $25. Now, the funding for that particular program, we're looking to perhaps make another application, either through the Community Foundation or through the Community Betterment Fund at City Hall. Some way to actually match the dollars that the customers are paying or contributing. That is a very quick, almost instant way to help those businesses get some additional cash flow. So the incentive is to buy the gift card, which provides some cash flow for the businesses, and then also gets them some additional income. This is happening in multiple communities. I've got examples from Ridge, from Oglala, from Broken Bow, from Hebron. Lots of different places are doing similar. Wayne, I think Wayne, Nebraska is doing this. And so we're searching for a funding source for that. We had talked about going to the LD840 committee, and that committee really, I think, decided to go a little different direction, which you'll hear about this evening as well. So it's something we hope to be able to accomplish in a manner that's timely enough that helps the business.
Thank you, I appreciate that, Beth. And I noticed just this afternoon you had sent us an email, or this morning, about the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation. Now, I saw to qualify, you have to employ between 3 and 20 people. How many businesses do you think locally could apply for that?
With the exception of the very small entrepreneurial at-home mom and pop, just about every business in our community. Now, they do have to be for-profit. This is not a program that's government-sponsored whatsoever. The U.S. Chamber gets to put whatever strings on it that they want. That application form was just online at noon our time today. I believe it's probably a limited amount of money on a first-come, first-served basis. That's why I wanted to make sure that we got that out there early this morning in case someone was interested in applying for that. I have no idea how quickly that will fill up, or how difficult the application form was, because when I sent that email, it had not gone live yet. So hopefully it's just another option, another opportunity for businesses to look at and see if it fits in their plans.
Thank you, Deb.
And just a brief question, Deb, as well. Do you know, have we had any applications to some of these federal assistance programs for local businesses go through and be approved, or have we not heard back yet?
Yes, we've been, we meaning Chadron banks have been extremely successful in closing the loans, and most of those are that forgivable
Right.
loans through what they call the payroll protection program, PPP, which allows you to keep on staff your employees. I talked with one bank, one of the smaller banks, I think in terms of volume, several $1 million.
Really?
Close. That fund at the federal level is a current amount of money. We have really good indications that they're going to put another $350 to $400 billion into that payroll protection program, as well as the SBA's, what they call idle loan. Hopefully sometime this week. Now, when that money actually gets flowing, so that businesses that have money in their checking accounts, we've not seen that quite yet. Now, we also have folks who have just applied for regular unemployment, and those are still in a terrible lag at the state level, and I don't know what the cause of that is. Just overwhelmed system is what I'm guessing. But between this payroll protection and actual unemployment, we're hopeful that if the business had to let people go, those folks should be getting some assistance here pretty quick. And to my knowledge, the stimulus checks have been landing in people's checking accounts. I personally, we got ours, so I know that those have started to land in people's checking accounts. But hopefully people have been able to work through whatever they needed to with their banker to get a little leeway to make it through until they can get some assistance.
Very good. Thank you, Deb. Glad to see that we're getting our share of that. Moving forward in our agenda tonight, would somebody like to introduce Resolution 2020-26?
Introducing resolution for 2020-26 and move for its adoption.
I'll second that.
Thunderous from Keith. Okay. Sorry, we're working on the audio at City Hall a little bit. That woke me up. Resolution 2020-26 is what Deb was referring to regarding the use of microgrants for LB 840 funds. There's some background on this with the LB 840 Economic Development Committee. Deb, do you want to talk a little bit about this, or Greg, did you want to go first?
I can kind of give a little bit of background. So Deb and myself were visiting about what opportunities were available to our businesses here to kind of weather some of this storm as we continue to move forward. And the discussion really started, as Deb was mentioning, with the kind of the discussion on a gift card matching program. And through the discussion with the committee, it was kind of, vetted out that doing some of these micro grants is going to be, one, a little bit easier to administer on the city side, as well as to get a little bit more cash into the hands of the businesses a little bit more, timely than, the gift card process, and leaving it open in terms of the application as well as kind of the overall administration of that. When we started to look at it, to come up with up to $1,000, that's quite a few gift cards that a business would have to, sell to then, get up to that dollar amount. And through the committee, it was the committee's recommendation through the LB 840 Economic Development funds to use $30,000 at this time for up to $1,000 micro grants on a first come, first served basis. And that's, kind of a little bit of the history. I know Deb kind of touched a little bit on that. Included in the council package is a template on the grant application form. What we would be requesting is that those dollars then be utilized for operational costs and to not be utilized for debt servicing. And then just identifying what the business structure is, the amount requested, and then just a brief description of the use of the funds. We would be administering this if council moves forward with this on a first come, first served basis. And Deb and myself are bouncing some emails back and forth on if council does approve this or some modification of this program, how we could get some publicity out there in terms of some press releases, as well as working with potentially the Chamber of Commerce to get some flyers made up and that information out there. So we've been talking about what we could do to market this program if it passes this evening as well. So,
Just a question on the first come, first serve. Would there be like a starting date? Would you say May 1st if we go forward with this, or is it just immediately and whoever gets in here first is?
So if council moves forward with the approval of this, we would do a notice, basically like we do with the Keno Ace. We would do a notice of grant availability, which would then start that time. It would be our intent to actually issue that for tomorrow to be able to then get these applications in and potentially get these processed through the claims list at the next council meeting, knowing that, the way, we operate with the bills, that we would have to, get these in time to actually be able to get the processing and everything else for that, first council meeting in May. If not, we would then end up pushing it into that second council meeting.
So we'd be looking at approving as many of the grants in front of us, 30,000 at our May 4th meeting.
That would be our intent. That way we can try to expedite, the funds and, moving forward with it. So,
Good.
one of the things that we would then, do is as these come in through City Hall, we would actually date stamp them. That way we know it's coming in on a first come, first served basis. That way there is no question on the time when they actually come in.
Okay, when they actually brought it in. And would you publish a deadline for payment on that May 4th meeting, or do we have a day that would need to be in by for that, just so people know that if you're going to do it, you better do it by whatever day? I mean, I know that our agenda deadline is Monday before.
Yeah, and we typically have to have everything done by that, is it Thursday? The Thursday before that next council meeting, so.
Okay. That was my only suggestion, was just to have as part of that notice, just that we request deadlines by a certain date for payment after the May 4th meeting, just so people know.
I think you could pretty easily build into the rules and regs on this, anything postmarked by such and such a date would be paid on the following Monday or whatever. And, if we end up going to a second round of this, you probably do it 2 weeks later.
Well, I think it's a super idea. And I think we'll probably be overwhelmed. And,
See, I mean, that's one of those that we would basically do it on a honor system. I mean, really what we would be requesting is that those folks utilize it to offset those. I mean, we wouldn't really necessarily go back and fully audit these folks like we would with the other grants that the city administers. I mean, this would strictly be, because we're trying to get this done in such a quick manner to get the funds out there, that we would be really requesting this on really an honor system. And to utilize it to offset utility costs and payroll and rent and those types of things for operating. I mean, $1,000 really does go a long ways, but it doesn't cover all of their operating costs for 1 month. So really to have that, $1,000 be used in, some form of operating is going to be probably really easy for 99% of the businesses.
Greg?
Yes.
I was just wondering, I know what Deb had presented, there were stipulations that it had to have 3 to 20 employees. Is this available for sole proprietors or the smaller businesses as well?
Through our process, we did not put any type of stipulation on the number of employees, only that we requested that they identify the number of employees in their application just for tracking purposes. But yes, it would be open for sole proprietors the way it's presented here.
And that is on the application as well as what they anticipate using it for.
Thank you.
Further questions or discussion from?
I just reemphasize it.
Today.
George, we will officially recognize George. He's been interrupted twice now.
Just like to reemphasize that, I think it's a super idea and urge those businesses that are having trouble, primarily probably the restaurants and some other service type businesses, to do it right away. If you come up with 29 and there's one left over, I could apply, but then I'd probably contribute it back to the city for the people who are having trouble with utility bills. So.
Very good. Yeah, I think this is a great idea. This is smart. I think this is for a lot of small businesses out there, like you say, $1,000 can, in terms of what we're going to give, for our fund, is not a huge amount. But boy, as a small business owner, $1,000 can really help out in a pinch. So,
Miles, I think there are two things that George makes a good point about. I would hate to be the 31st person the 31st business that filled out the application form, dropped it off at City Hall. And we did actually speak of that at the LD 840 committee meeting. And, there's nothing that would preclude them from perhaps putting another few $1,000s into this. That would be up to the committee. However, we thought to use a cap at $30,000 to begin with, and it gives a little bit of an incentive for folks to get after it and get their application in there. I did want to mention that I had a conversation with Gabby today at the chamber, and she is very willing and very helpful in terms of design and that sort of thing to help us get this thing out there. So it'll be a good joint project, I think, and will really reap some real benefits to the city, just even in the goodwill that we're putting out there. But the fact of the matter is, this could keep a business from having to shut its doors.
Hear, hear. And I would anticipate looking toward next month having another, very seriously consider another round.
might want to look at that, those numbers of employees that read, I think Deb said 28. In our household, we've got 2 LLCs that, you know, on a good year bring in a few $1,000s. And on the flip side, I don't think we should be giving any money to Walmart. So I don't know if anybody, I haven't talked to anybody else, but you know, the sweet spot to me would be the number of employees, like Deb mentioned in her other email. So.
And again, I think that goes back to the, there's that balance scale of good faith on the applicant and also the due diligence and how much due diligence can we really afford to put into a no more than $1,000 micro grant. Does anybody want to propose amending to guide that?
I would not be against it if Mark wants to propose it.
Yeah, so we'd basically be eliminating, you know, 1 or 2 person businesses,
So like all your hair salons that get shut down?
right? All the,
I'm sorry, Miles, it would be, could you repeat what you said? I didn't catch that. It would be.
so we'd basically be eliminating 1 and 2 person businesses, and the point that the chief was making is we have a lot of 1-person businesses around here that are hurting, especially like you think of salons, you think of barbershops, you think of a lot of businesses, you know, that have bills, have rent, and it's just 1 or 2 people.
Who exactly is going to be reviewing these? Because while I agree with the point about salons and things like that, that totally makes sense. I also know that there's a lot of people with multiple LLCs. Mark having 2 is low compared to some people I know that have quite a number of LLCs that's just for them and their personal businesses. So I guess, I don't know how to word it or whatever, but there's got to be some sort of limitation about maybe even just say 1 grant per proprietor or something like that. So we don't have multiple LLCs filing under just their LLC name that could be taken advantage of it.
The other route you could go with this, that many of the businesses in Nebraska who have grant programs out there, they're requiring some sort of business address location. For example, the guy who's working through Etsy from his basement, repackaging bars of soap, does not have an actual business address other than his personal address. So I guess maybe if you wanted to limit it to those businesses who have a physical presence on, you know, in the community, I would say Main Street, but that isn't exactly what I mean, that would have a mailing address that's outside of their home. But maybe there's shops that are in their homes too, so I don't know.
Yeah, Deb, I appreciate that, but as we're looking at life now, you can do a lot of work from your home. You don't necessarily have to have an office with the address. So even though I appreciate that, and I hear the concern that Keith holds, and Mark and I agree with that, I don't know what if a person's business is in their home. I'd hate to eliminate them if they are really being dramatically impacted by this. I think this is an important, that we move forward and offer this to our businesses. The concerns expressed are valid. Does anyone have an idea on how to address them tonight?
Sure, briefly. I think you need to look at this in the emergency context. This is an emergency action. This isn't something that's well thought out, well planned. We're talking about 30 grants. We have, and in a city that has many sole proprietorships, they're also LLCs. They are recognized as LLCs, but they're sole proprietorships. we can dissect this as much as you want. We can go through a business class doing how we want to dissect this. You're talking about an emergency action with the city, and I think that it's an outstanding effort on the part of everybody involved at this time to try to get this done. You've got a city that's provided it.
And to tag on to what you said, Adam, the beauty of this is in its simplicity, and how, for these micro grants, are we going to involve a process where they go to the LB 840 committee, the LB 840 committee reviews them, they forward their recommendations to us, we review the applications, we approve them. We are best served, I feel, by getting this money out to people.
Yeah, I think we need to go with it, and, city staff, if they do a little smell test and it doesn't smell right, maybe contact me or Maya or Miles or some other and see what we think, and, and we can talk to the people then and say, this doesn't look quite right, would you like to just forget about it and let someone else have a chance? And
I would really hope we
go
wouldn't
with it.
have any of that, truly.
Yeah, and it'd be nice if we don't.
Right, I mean, at the end of the day, this is, ultimately, council will have to approve these grants to actually be paid through the claims process. And Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, if there's concern with an applicant at that time, it can be addressed through the claims process, and then it can be pulled out of that stack and addressed at a different day, because ultimately, council does have an opportunity to see these a second time when they actually go through that claims process to say, maybe we don't want to, go with Walmart, or, I'm just throwing that out there as a potential example, and say, there is this secondary check on when these actually come in to say, maybe we need to discuss this one a little bit more before we actually pull that one out of the claims list. So there is a little bit of checks and balances there. It's not like the applications come in, we administratively process them, and then the checks administratively get cut. They still have that second check on them when they go back through that claims.
And I think that's guardrail
I
enough.
would agree with that. Now, to say that there might not be attempts at abuse, there's attempts at abuse in every program going on right now. But again, we live in Chadron, Nebraska, and if somebody gets through the cracks, we're going to know about it. And there's karma, I guess you might call it. So this is a good thing. Don't make it harder than it has to be. This is a good thing.
Further questions or discussion from council?
Adam, so you agree with what Greg just said, that there would be we as a council would have a look at it before,
Yeah, Mark, I think you're gonna look at the claims, and if something red flags, we're gonna talk about before the meeting. I'm hoping you're gonna let us know if you see it coming, and we'll deal with it. I agree with that. There's a filter process there.
Okay, that satisfies my concern.
Okay, then I would like to make a motion. I'd like to make the motion that we move forward with the microgrant application process as presented and direct the staff to start the grant process and advertising.
I will second.
Did we need the motion, or is the resolution on the floor
I thought that-
essentially that
Resolution, since it's not amended.
we don't need an amendment?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so may we have roll call on resolution 2020-26?
Porter,
Yes.
Welch,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Bannon,
Yes.
Crowell,
Yes, ma'am.
Moving forward in our agenda, we have now our tax increment financing annual report pursuant to some new legislation that is, that'll be 874. That is it 847? I don't know, one of the two. It doesn't matter. Regardless, we now have to issue an annual report regarding our TIF funds, and just a reminder to council members, this was corrected. The numbers were modified, and we have the information here that we have one TIF project currently in effect, and that is still being paid off. Do you have any Anybody have any questions or discussion on this report?
May I just be, could someone clarify what TERC is the acronym for, please?
So, I can't say what,
Tax Equalization and Review Commission. They challenged the assessor's value, Cheryl, so it went to Lincoln. That was the adjustment made by that board. I do have one question on the 2020 value. Why did we use 5 million rather than the 4 million number? But that's one thing I don't know.
I assume that's in my emails with
Hi,
Jeanette.
this is Jeanette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on. We use that because that's what Lindy told me the 2020 value is. It will probably change if they contest it.
It'll be in terms. That's fine. I'm just curious.
That's what the number was as of January 1, 2020. Since they started this report last year, they've kind of given us a little bit more guidance. Last year, we thought it was the December 31st number. It's not. It's the January 1 number. So that's what she told me it was.
And keeping in mind Turk appeals, usually that number doesn't change. Those appeals take 8 to 10 months.
Yes. Yes.
This entity has been successful twice in their initial year, which was probably,
If it goes to 5,999,000, they will appeal it, George.
I know that they will, yeah. I've been around on that thing.
Especially since the depreciation factors are going to be interesting on this. But that's fine. I'm just curious where that number came from.
Do we need, there's no approval, we don't have to, we're just reviewing this and moving on?
This is just straight for informational purposes only. What we will be doing is sending this report out to all of the taxing agencies that would be affected by TIF.
Right.
So it's just for informational purposes.
Notify out anybody who has a property tax stake in that property. Any other further discussion from the council?
Yeah, I guess, let me just go through what I think this says. The 2018 number was after the appeal or before the appeal? 5,370.
That would be that's the 5,370,000 was the initial assessed value. The 4,999,000 was the adjusted number by the Tax Equalization Review Commission.
Okay, and then where did the 2019 number come from?
They stayed with the 4,999,000, and I don't believe there was an appeal. I haven't seen one.
Okay.
So it just flowed through the same number for 19.
I think I'm one memo behind. I didn't print out the one that came from,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, so
Mark, you are, because one of my initial questions was why was there such dramatic fluctuation in the value? But the one we just received this afternoon, it's a little clearer.
yeah, I didn't print that out, my bad.
And for purposes of history, the 2017 initial and adjusted was based on mostly on completion. The adjustment was made by Turk because of the completion dates and the dates when the assessed values were made. So, just for by way of information.
Is this common, how there'll be an assessed value and then there's an adjust value and then is it common?
It's probably more common in this kind of business, Cheryl, than it is, say, a residential house or agricultural real estate. The factors that go into this are pretty in-depth.
All right, thank you.
further comments? If not, we will move forward.
I move to approve the claims.
George has moved. Is there a second? Okay. Any discussion on the claims tonight? Hearing none, may we have roll call on the claims, please?
Aye.
Yes. Warner?
Aye.
Well?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Bannon?
Yes.
Crowfoot?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. City manager report?
So I know there's been, a lot going on since our last meeting, and I just want to remind folks that we have not closed down all of the playground equipment around town, but I just wanted to, continue to remind folks to follow what the governor has put out there for guidance in terms of the use of the playground and his 6 recommendations. That's, we want folks to, continue to use the parks and be outside and, exercise and take advantage of the area that we live in. But, we also want folks to, take accountability and, not use the playground equipment. And, we just want to continue to ask folks to follow what the guidance that has been put out there. The second thing is that, we have here at, City Hall, as well as our other staff, has gone to an alternating shift process. Again, if you have any questions, concerns, please feel free to reach out to us. We're always available here. We may not be present in the building, but we're always available during business hours. So please get a hold of us if you do have any questions at all. Other than that, just want to thank all of our public works staff for jumping up and helping with a water main break, and it was a real good team effort that we had on that and was able to get it done. And other than that, that's all I have.
Where was the water main break?
Over on, between on Third Street, between Oak and Elm. I forgot it.
Way over there.
Yeah.
Holy cow. All right. We do not require Resolution 2020-27 tonight, as we are all present, personally or in telepresence. Move to council, closing comments. Mark?
I'm not going to jump to technology guys, so I'll pass on.
Cheryl?
Well, I'd just like to acknowledge that this is such a challenging and stressful time. And I think it's a time to recognize that we each need to do the best that we can. It's important to be careful. Please try to observe this social distancing, because as of yet, Dawes County is the positive free county. I'm grateful for that. I'd like everybody to take care of themselves. That's one of the 6 recommendations from Governor Ricketts. So make sure you take care of yourselves and your people and those around you. So I just want to encourage everyone to be gentle with themselves.
George?
Okay. I was negligent 2 weeks ago in not extending Easter greetings to everyone.
Oh.
It's not too late to maybe get a little faith and pray that this coronavirus goes away, and help your fellow citizens. And if you're lucky enough to be all this shutdown did not affect your paycheck, and you get a stimulus check, give some thought to maybe contributing some of that to organizations that help those who fall through the cracks, who would not get, whose earnings are affected and maybe don't get a stimulus check and those things. So, like the sign on the various marquees, we'll get through this, but let's give it all we got. Thank you.
Good, George. That's wise words. I think that I wanted to, first of all, tonight issue special thanks to all of our essential workers out there. Like George said, there's a lot of folks who are still earning paychecks out there whose paychecks aren't in question, and they're putting in, a lot of them, longer hours than they normally would in hazardous conditions in many cases. So a big personal thank you to all those folks working essential jobs, healthcare workers especially, and thank you to the business owners out there who are trying to make it work, trying to do what they can to work through all of this. It's not easy for anybody, and George is absolutely right. That was actually, I think, exactly what I was going to say is use what you have to help support other folks in this community. Whether you take some of your stimulus check and donate it to a local charity, or go out and buy food and deliver that to the food pantry, donate it, or just use part of your regular paycheck. Write a check to your hairdresser, write a check to your barber, write a check for all the services you would normally use and help support those businesses. Buy those gift cards, whether or not we can get that match program started immediately. Just having those gift cards for those businesses is really important, and support the businesses you can. We talk about, Take Out Tuesday. Again, if you're still having healthy income, go out there and do what you can to support our businesses, because I know that right now every dollar counts. Keith?
Well, Miles, you just stole like pretty much everyone's thunder there, but
George got first pass at the thunder.
Happy 420 and peace out.
Peace indeed. I hear a motion to adjourn? We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I was just chuckling.
Okay.
Yes, I second that.
All right. May we have roll call on the motion to adjourn?
Warner,
Aye.
Welch,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Bannon,
Yes.
Crumpet.
Yes, ma'am.
We are adjourned. Groovy. Thanks, everybody.